my studio. We're going to shift gears a little bit. We've talked, obviously, extensively over the past 45 minutes or so about the concept of improvement, the concept of mastery, the things that you should be doing to improve, to work on your craft, to work on getting better. And it is important that you work on getting better. Now, what I want to do is I want to look at the umbrella of prospecting. I don't know if I can, draw an umbrella. Probably not a really good umbrella drawer. But let's just call this the umbrella of prospecting, right? Okay. So that's your prospecting umbrella. Now, what falls under the prospecting umbrella? What are the different things? Because when we talk about prospecting and recruiting, that's a general term for several things that we do that lead us to enrollment and sponsoring somebody. And these aren't necessarily in any particular order, but certainly for sure, list building would be included, right? So because this is a people business, right? We've got to have people to talk to. We've got to have people to communicate our message to. So my question to you is, what are you doing daily to build your list, right? To meet new people, to make new connections? Because one position you never want to be in is when you're sitting around one day going, wow, I have nobody to talk to about my business. So I think it's important that you're proactive in terms of constantly doing things to create new relationships, to meet new people, to create new opportunities for growth. Now, I know that, the last, 8, 9 months, the world's been in a kind of a lockdown situation. So our opportunities to go see people and be around people aren't as much as maybe they were before. But, you still have, and many of you, probably most, if not all of you, are on social media, getting involved in Facebook groups where you can make new connections. I'll give you a really great strategy, in fact, on meeting new people that you automatically have something in common with. And it involves doing this. It involves you, and this is one of many things that you can do. I think the important thing for you to understand is ask yourself, what am I doing from an ongoing list building standpoint? What am I doing to generate new relationships and be meeting new people and creating opportunities for new individuals to come into my life? So, like, for example, Facebook groups, we're all familiar with those. A lot of network marketers will think, I'm going to go into a network marketing Facebook group, or I'm going to go into an entrepreneur Facebook group. I have a little different philosophy on that. Think about something that either A, you're really good at. Like we already talked about this earlier, like what are you really good at and how did you get really good at that? So let's say, for example, you're amazing at barbecuing meats. Like you are the barbecue champion, and you can barbecue anything, and you know everything about how to barbecue it this way, that way, the other way. Or you have a high level of interest in, like, I've never barbecued anything in my life. I would love to learn how to barbecue. Now, again, so either A, you have a level of expertise, or B, you have a high degree of curiosity, legitimate curiosity. Well, then what you could do is you could go find a Facebook group that is all about barbecuing. And either if you're the expert, you could be a valued contributor. You could be sharing your stories, your recipes, and you would be seen in that audience, which has nothing to do, by the way, with network marketing, as this incredible value adder, this person who knows everything there is to know about barbecuing. And what ultimately happens is people are going to start seeking you out and checking you out on your Facebook page and like, who is this person? And it creates opportunities for you to create new relationships with people that you would never otherwise have been connected with had you not done this. Or B, you don't know anything about barbecuing, but you want to know. So you're in there and you're asking questions, you're involved in the group, and yet, again, it's creating new opportunities for you to meet new people that you would never otherwise be connected with. Now, that's one idea. There's things like meetup.com, BNI, Chamber of Commerce. There's a lot of things that you can do, but I think the important thing, number one, is that you're doing something to constantly, like, what new person did I meet today, right? That's a great question to ask yourself. And then the second part of it, and I want you to understand this, that this business is all about relationship building, okay? And understand that people buy from those that they like and trust, right? Nobody gives business to someone who they don't feel good about. You might get my money once, but you're not going to get a second or third time. So how people feel about you is one of the most important things that will lead you to greater success in this business, because again, if you understand from those that they like and trust, what can you then do to create a situation where people like you and trust you? So I'm talking about not necessarily list building, but people that you already have relationships with or that know you. How would they describe you? Would they describe you as somebody who's super fun and positive and great to be around? Or would they describe you as someone who is always, gossiping or always negative? And I know all of us network marketers, of course, we're positive all the time, right? 365 days a year, we never have a problem. Of course, we're human beings. People have issues, but understand this. When you understand that people like to do business with those that they like and trust, which is the paramount of, I learned this over 30 years ago, so I set out to be like, okay, what can I do to be a person that people want to be around? And I would encourage you to do this. This would be a very powerful, this actually would be a very powerful exercise. So if you're taking notes, take a piece of paper and draw a line through the center, and on the left side of the page, put businesses I like, and on the right side of the page, businesses I don't know, businesses or people I don't like, right? So down here, I want you to write down the specific names of companies or businesses or people that you go back to again and again. I'm not talking network marketing. I'm talking about your favorite restaurant, your dry cleaner, the person down, the massage therapist that you use, the whatever, the people that you always go back to again and again and again, and you always like go back to that person. And then on this side, think about people and businesses that you'll never do business with again. You're like, okay, I did it once, never again. And write down the specific names of those companies and businesses. And this is a very powerful exercise, very, very powerful. And then write down the reasons. Well, why do you always go back to that massage therapist, that restaurant down the street, that dry cleaner, that whoever it is? Like, what are the specific reasons why you always go back to, and you'll never give your business to anybody else because of what? What's the reasons? And then on this side, the reasons why you don't go back, like, okay, I don't know, I'll never, and I want you to be specific here. Not do this exercise, when this event is over, and this will be very, very enlightening for you on the way that you need to be in order to be more attractive, because it'll literally turn on a light for you, and you'll be like, wow, I want to be like this because these are attractive features. How can I represent these attractive features in my life so that I become a magnet for success versus these that I'll never go back to again, and these specific reasons why I avoid going back to these people or these businesses. This exercise alone, if I stop the training right now, would be an eye-opening, massive experience for you, okay? So that's another thing I want you to do. Now, so whatever you're doing, regardless, is we got to be doing something that is helping you to meet new people. So are you proactively doing something daily where you're creating new potential relationships? That's an important thing. Now, the second thing, and this is really important, this is one of the most important skills that we do in this business, which is inviting people, right? If we don't invite people, other words, here's another way of putting it, ask. If we don't ask people to take a look, is anybody ever going to join, right? Like if I don't, like, think about this. Those of you that are married, how did that happen, right? How did it happen? Oh, wait a minute. He asked me, most of the time, generally speaking, he asked me to marry him. And I said yes. Or I suppose a percentage of the time it might be like you've been with the person for a little while and she says, hey, you better put a ring on this thing soon, or otherwise, like, I mean, what's up here? We've been doing this for 4 or 5 years, and isn't it time? And you're like, okay, under maybe slight pressure, you're like, okay, fine, will you marry me, right? Hopefully you didn't have that situation, but that happens sometimes too. But the only reason you got married is somebody had to ask. And I think sometimes people don't understand the supreme power in the ask. If you don't ask, you get nothing. If you ask, you're going to uncover something. We should be doing a lot of asking how somebody's doing, asking about their day, asking them questions about themselves, being curious, being inquisitive about that individual, asking them, hey, John, look, I just launched this new business recently. I'd love to show you what I'm up to. If I sent you a video, would you do me a favor and take a look at it sometime today so I can get back to you? If we don't ask people to take a look, if we don't invite people, and this is something that is this is something you should be doing daily. And not only should you be doing this daily, this is one of those areas when we've talked about improvement, mastery, that you want to be working on. So if I was in your shoes and I was like, okay, I want to be really, really good at this, then, okay, I would be practicing my invites. I would get together with a team member. I get together with somebody and say, okay, let's role play back and forth and practice the invite. Okay. All right, John, I'm having a conversation. Hey, John, what's up? How's it going? Todd Falcone. Oh, great, Todd. What's going on? Listen, brother, I'm giving you a call. I'm super busy right now. I've got a meeting I got to run off to, but I wanted to ask you a very simple question, John. Do you at all keep your options open in terms of making any money outside of what you're currently doing as a real estate professional, right? Having practiced that to a point where it's conversational versus, hey, John, do you at all keep your options open in teams in terms of that's not going to work out well for you, right? So that's one of the reasons why the more time that we spend practicing, the more comfortable we get with it, the more conversational it becomes. And inviting and asking, and you can get mad at me if you want. I can take it, okay? But I'm going to say something that's very blunt right now. And that is, I'm assuming that if you're here for this event for APL, right, that you are serious, that you want to win, that you want to, be part of taking this company to $1 billion and beyond, that you want to be part of that picture, right? I'm making that assumption, okay? Now, if that's the case, then in my opinion, if you show up any day for your business, like, okay, in other words, when you're working and when you're playing, right? If there's any day that you show up to work your APL business, in other words, you're putting time into your business, and you don't do some active inviting that day, like if in other words, if any day passes without you doing some type of new business building reach out, like you spent time in the business, but you didn't really reach out to anybody that day, you're really not in the business. Oh, Todd, wait a minute. Now that's what I'm talking about, getting mad at me. Like, wait, you can't tell me I'm not in the business. I'm in the business. I'm here. Okay, I get it. But you tell me, what is more important than inviting or asking a new person to try your products or take a look at the business? There is truly nothing that is more important. Well, Todd, I got a big team. I got to work with a team. Yes, you do. But you as a leader need to set the example for other people to follow and demonstrate what it means to be in personal production, because they're going to do a lot of what you do, more so of what you do than what you say. So I think that, again, I know it kind of hurts for some people to hear that, but the truth is, like, if you can, and we can't unmute and interact here or whatever, but if we were to get into a debate, you'd still lose, because nobody here in this profession can tell me that there's something more important to do on a daily basis than inviting some new person to take a look at the business or the product. There is nothing that is more important than that activity. So this right here is crucial for you to work on. Ask yourself. In fact, there's an exercise that I do. In fact, I'll do it in a little different color. This is something I've done for years and years and years, okay? So I want you to draw a little box on a piece of paper, okay? And in that box, I want you to write a number. And here's the number I want you to write. Ready? How many new people, new exposures within the last 24 hours, how many new people did you expose to the APL products or to the APL business opportunity in the last 24 hours? Now this is like a telltale sign of how active somebody is and how focused they are on the right kinds of business building activities. And if the number is a 0, that's not a good number. That means 0. Wait, in the last 24 hours, you didn't do one invite. You didn't have anybody take a look. You didn't even attempt to. Now, I got a little phrase that goes along with this that I've been saying for probably over 15 years. It's got a nice little ring to it, and it's double digits a day keep the commission checks on their way. Well, what's the first double digit? The first double digit is a 10, right? So am I saying that you need to talk to 10 people a day? Otherwise, you're not in the business. No, I'm not saying that. But what if you did? Like, what if your mission in life was I don't ever finish a day until I've done or attempted to do 10 invites a day? It would be impossible for you to fail. It would be impossible for you to not improve your skills. It would be impossible for you to not have a higher degree of confidence. Your check would grow. Your organization would grow. What if everybody, think about this for a second, what if everybody in your group reached out to 10 people a day every single day? And I'm not saying that's a requirement, a necessity, but just what if? It's a whole lot better than having a zero in that box, is it not? So again, it's the actions that we take that make the biggest difference. Now, number 3, so what happens after we invite? Well, we got to get them in front of some type of presentation, right? And I don't know exactly what you guys are doing or what you're putting people in front of, but doesn't it make sense that the next step, okay, I invited you, hey, John, I just launched this new business. I'd love to show you what I'm up to. If I sent you this video, would you do me a favor and take a look at it sometime today? And John says, yes. That next step for you is to get that person in front of whatever the presentation tool it is. Maybe you have videos. Maybe you have a PowerPoint presentation. Maybe you have a Zoom. You need to, if you don't know, that's an important thing for you to do, is to check with your leadership and find out, what are you doing? What are you using that's helping to lead to greater success? Like, what are you putting people in front of? In fact, if I joined you guys today, the very first question that I would ask my leader is, what presentation are you using that's getting the best results in terms of new signups, new enrollments? That's a great question to find out. And you may go upline to somebody and say, hey, what tool are you using, or how are you presenting this opportunity? And they'll say, oh, we're using this. And you're like, wait a minute, I didn't even know that existed. Or you might go, oh, okay, that's cool. I'm already using that. So you'll either get a confirmation that you're doing the right thing, or you might come to a discovery and realize that there's something that's more effective and more powerful. Now, do you have to be good at presenting? In today's environment, you got tools and things that do the work for you, but I think it would be good for you if you plan on being here long term. And again, we're talking about mastery, right? That you work on becoming a better presenter. Now, the thing about think about this. If I invited you and then I got you onto a Zoom, for example, and I did a 25-minute presentation manually. I did the presentation. You'd be thinking to yourself, oh, wow, I have to do that? I don't know how to do that. I could never do what Todd does. So that's not necessarily something that's easy to be duplicated if I'm manually doing it now. But it would be good for me to be able to do it, because what if I'm sitting next to you on an airplane sometime and I use a tool, but I don't have the tool with me, and I'm in conversation with you? Could I still have a conversation with you? And we're at the end of that conversation, you're like, hey, here's my credit card. I'm ready to sign up. So I do believe that each and every one of you should study whatever presentation or presentation tools that you're using, so that you could be able to talk intelligently about what we're doing. Now, the reality is you're probably going to use some type of tool or presentation, videos or whatever it might be that you're putting people in front of, that does the work for you. But I still think it would be good for you to be a better presenter. Because here's the other thing. In network marketing, you're very likely to at some point be invited to speak on stage and tell your story, or to talk about something in some area, even if you don't want to be on the platform. If you're making money, good chance it's probably going to happen. So if you've practiced ahead of time and you've already given yourself an opportunity of what it's like to be in front of a camera, or what it's like to be in front of a group of people and talking to a group of people, then you're going to be more comfortable with it when that opportunity arises. So what happens after the presentation, right? Well, as soon as the presentation's done, well, I mean, especially if I directed you to something, I said, hey, when can you go look at it? Well, then I'm going to have to follow up with you. And most of your business, like a great majority of your business, is going to be as a result of your follow-up. So this is where most of your money is made. Like, some people have heard the phrase, the fortune's in the follow-up. It's true. Most of your money is going to be made in follow-up. So my question to you is, and this is kind of an interesting conversation, is, how good are you at follow-up? Like, what's your follow-up routine? And people are like, well, I actually hear from people I'm not really good at follow-up. I'm like, well, how are you not good? What does that mean? What do you mean you're not good at follow-up? Because follow-up is more decision-based than it is skill-based. So I'll give you a quick scenario. Let's say today is, um, let's let's say today is Tuesday, okay? And I call my friend John up and I say, John, oh my gosh, what's up? How's it going? I'm talking to that person. So I already have a relationship with John. I'm reaching out to him to invite or ask him and say, John, I got to share with you something. I've only got a few minutes, but Carla and I just launched into a new business. Quite frankly, I've never been more excited in my entire life. This is the biggest business project that I've ever done in my entire life. I want you to, if I sent you a link to a video that's about 15 minutes in total length about what I'm doing, would you spend 15 minutes sometime today and take a look at it? And John, my friend, is curious about what I'm doing. He's like, yeah, sure, Todd. I'm like, great. When can you, I'm going to send it over to you right now. Let's say it's 9 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday morning. I say, John, I'm going to send that video to you right now. When can you watch that video today? I didn't say, can you watch the video? I said, when, and I want you to understand the power of how you ask stuff as well. Like, can you look at it? He can say no. When can you presupposes that he can. When can you look at that video today? So I basically locked him. I mean, he could come back and say, I can't look at it today, I'm too busy. But I go, when can you look at it today? Also shows my level of seriousness. And he goes, oh, I can get to it as soon as I get back from work. What time do you get home from work? I get back at 6. I go, so you think you would have had a chance to watch the video by 7:30? He goes, yeah, for sure I would have watched it. I'm like, great. How about I give you a call at 7:30? Does that work for you? And he says, yes, it does. And I've got John's phone number. He's got mine. We're friends. I'm like, cool, John. I'm going to call you at 7:30 on the nose. And I'm just basically going to be there to just get some feedback from you and see how you felt about what you saw. Great. Sounds great, Todd. I'll see you tonight. Bang, right? So what happens at 7:15? Nothing, because it's at 7:30. What happens at 7:45? Nothing, because otherwise I would have been late. His phone rings. Why does his phone ring at 7:30? Because I put John in my calendar for a follow-up. Follow up with John. He's in my calendar at 7:30. My brain's not that good. I don't know how your brain is, but things could come up and go on, and all of a sudden the day, I make other plans because it wasn't in my calendar, and then I miss this vital appointment where I was very excited about it. And then at 7:30, my friend John is actually waiting for my call, but then I don't call because I didn't put it in the calendar and I made other plans. Would John be likely to join me after that? No, he wouldn't. So I think it's really important that you're on top of your follow-up game. It's very calendar-based. So at 7:30, ring, ring, one of two things happens. One, he answers. Great. Two, he doesn't answer. Great. Emotionally, for me, it's either way. I don't know. It's not like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. He's going to look at it. Maybe he's going to join. And then if he doesn't join, I'm going to be depressed. I'm going to cry and I'm going to quit. It's like, if he's there, great. If he's not there, great. Now, if he's there on a follow-up, I think it's important for you to pay attention to what happens in follow-ups with other professional people. This is yet another way for you to be observant and pick up on things. So, for example, if I called John up at 7:30, he answers the phone. I'm like, hey, John, did you have a chance to watch the video? He's like, yeah, I did. I'm like, great, pretty awesome, isn't it? So I'm already kind of including, I'm like, hey, it's like, I didn't say, oh, that was terrible, wasn't it? So this is pretty amazing, wasn't it? And he's like, yeah. John, let me ask you a quick question. What did you like the most about what you saw? That is a forced response question. I didn't say, what do you think, John? What do you think? Because he might give me a whole earful. But I said, what did you like the most, which is a forced response positive question. Oh, I like the comp plan. I like the money. I like the product. I like the owners, da-da-da-da-da. So he's gonna give me some type of positive response. One of my favorite things to do in the follow-up is actually do something where I call it taking their temperature. And I will literally say, okay, because I love the products. I liked everything. It was really cool. I said, John, let me ask you this question. If you were going to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 1, no, this is totally not for me. I don't see myself involved in this. And 10, oh my goodness, I get it. This totally makes sense to me. I can see why you're so excited. I want to do this. What number would you give yourself? Now, do you notice how I did that? I didn't say, John, hey, if you're going to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 on 10, yeah, how would you see how descriptive I was? So the person now goes, they know what that really means from 1 to 10. Now he's going to tell me I'm a 7, I'm a 10, I'm a 3. And that is literally a temperature gauge on how hot or cold they are. So if he says he's a 7, I can come back and say, hey, why are you a 7? You know, if he says he's an 8, what makes you an 8? If you're a 3, what makes you an 8? And then you're not here to push them from a 7 to a 10. You're there to be a tour guide to help them convince themselves to move from a 7 to a 10 or a 5 to a 10 so that they can make a decision. Now, this is critical for you guys to not be ball droppers on follow-up, to, you know, study other people that do follow up and see if you can like listen into perhaps other successful people. What else might we include here? Well, I mean, there might be objections, right? So there might be objections or questions that take place, and I think it would be important for you to get good at those objections. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I need to think about it. How much money are you making? I tried one of those things and it didn't work. My Aunt Melba tried one of those things 20 years ago. It didn't work for her. I don't like sales. That seems expensive. You know what? I mean, right? You can't just throw those things out of thin air and go, you've never done network marketing before. I've done this my entire life. So then what you can do, and this is again when we're talking about mastery, right? I actually like objections. Isn't that weird? Like, wait, you're objecting, but you like it? Yeah, I like it. Well, here's why I like it. Because an objection shows me that the person has an interest, but they have a concern, and that their concern needs to be alleviated. It's like, I'm interested in this, but I'm just, you know, I'm not really sure. Do people really make money at this? Or, you know, is this for real? Or, you know, I mean, do I get whatever the objection is? And then our job is just basically help, you know, answer the question or alleviate the objection or find out what the real objection is. Like when somebody says, like the two biggest objections are I don't have the time and I don't have the money, which to me are the two biggest reasons you should do the business, right? I don't have the time, you should do network marketing. I don't have the money, you should do network marketing, right? So those things, like when somebody says I don't have the money, does it really mean that they don't have the money? Sometimes it does. But it may really mean, well, yeah, I got the money, but you haven't fully convinced me that I can actually earn. I haven't convinced myself through my conversation with you that if I give the company X amount of dollars that I'm going to be able to get it back and then some. So they're therefore not willing to part with their money. So I think this would be yet another one of those areas where you practice addressing objections and questions. This to me would be one, like when we talk about role play and some of these other things that lead to mastery, I would say for sure that would be one of those areas that you would want to, you know, spend some time focusing on. And then what happens after you've addressed objections? By the way, in the follow-up, this would be a great time for a three-way call or some type of third-party validation, right? That's probably the ideal time to do it. And then what's the last thing after we're dealing with, you know, objections would be, you know, closing or enrolling them into the program. That seems to me like the next logical step. So I have a relationship with you. I've invited you to take a look. I put you in front of a presentation. I scheduled a follow-up with you. I addressed your questions and concerns, your objections on that follow-up. If you needed more information, I got you further information that, you know, whatever, I needed more information about the comp plan, or I needed to get this. I got you additional information, followed up with you again. You know, you might have to get back to a person a second, third, or fourth time before they join you. That's okay. And then we essentially get to a point where we're running out of questions. And I don't like if we're talking about traditional selling, there's all sorts of different closing techniques that could be incorporated into, you know, closing somebody into a business. I'll give you what's worked really well for me. Well, a couple things. First of all, in order for you to be more effective at closing, right, you know, enrolling a new distributor into your business, you need to know the packages, the price points, and the things that are available in getting started. I'm assuming that with APL, you guys have different options. Like I can start with this, or I can start with this and this, or I can start with this, right? There's different packages, different levels, right? What you need to know is what's in those, so package A and package B. Let's say there's two. I can start here for this amount, and I can start here for this amount. Well, what does it mean starting here versus here to me, the prospect? Well, if you start here, what are the benefits, right? So it might include this, this, and this. Those are the features. That's what's included in that. But what does it mean to me if I start with this package versus this package? And that, for you to be a more effective closer, it's important that you know the differences between those, that you can clearly articulate to your prospect what those are, and for them to be able to understand it. Well, it makes more sense for me to do it this way than this way, because these are the benefits I'm going to get as a result of it. It's very important for you to understand that. What happens is, and this is how I segue into a close, and all of this, by the way, list building, inviting, presenting, follow-up, dealing with objections, closing, these are all things that you should be practicing and working on with your team. And this should be like an ongoing journey of growth and development, working towards mastery, okay? I can sit here and say, you need to ask, but it's like, how can we get better at asking and inviting? And really work on this stuff, you guys, because this is, and again, it's not overnight. Like, mastery doesn't occur overnight, but these are the areas under that umbrella of prospecting and recruiting that I would say you want to focus on. So closing, right? So we get to the end, and we kind of get to the end, and your prospect knows we're getting to the end. They know this isn't going to go on forever. We get towards the end of the process, and they're like, hey, they know they're either going to say yes or they're going to say no. So we get to the point they're interested, they like what they see, they're asking questions. I've addressed their questions, their concerns, or whatever their objections, and we start to run out of questions. And you can kind of feel it. It's like, that the end is near. And what I like to do is say something like this: hey, John, look, obviously, you like what you've seen so far. This would be a great opportunity for us to make some money and have some fun together. Would it be okay with you if I showed you the different options that are available in getting started here with APL? So that's my closing question. Would it be okay with you if I showed you the different options? I've never once had a prospect say, no, Todd, you can't do that. Like, yeah, no problem. So I just lay out the different options, option A and option B, or option A, B, and C. And then I would just say, John, how do you see yourself getting started? Oh, well, this one makes sense. I'm like, great, let's get you going. And then I would walk John through the process. Now, for me personally, I prefer to enroll you, meaning I could probably send you to the website and you could go fill out the form and register yourself. But I got you on the phone, and you're like, hey, I want to start with this. I'm like, great. Well, let's get you going. And then I will literally log in, and I'm going to have you on the phone with me, and I'm going to enroll you while you're on the phone with me. Why do I do that? Because then you don't disappear. Nothing's going to happen when I'm in control of the enrollment process. That's how I prefer to do it personally. You can do it however you want to do it. I like to maintain control in the enrollment process. And so, John, first name, last name, social, great, address, great, blah, blah, blah. And I'll walk you through it, and I'll sign you up right then and there. So again, I wish I had the entire day to spend with you, because I could go so much deeper into these areas, but because, I got limited time, I thought, okay, well, what do I want to present for these folks at APL? Okay, we're talking about mastery. We're talking about prospecting and recruiting mastery. The number one revenue producing activity is your ability to easily and effortlessly, in your own feelings, this is easy and effortless for me, not hard and arduous and difficult. I feel good, I feel comfortable, I feel confident, I feel skillful at it, to be able to go out and engage people in conversation, invite them, get them in front of information, get back to them, get them enrolled, and feel great about that entire journey, right? Again, you don't get to see me in 1989 or 1990 when I began this journey, when I was a wreck, okay? I was a stuttering, sweaty, nervous wreck who could barely recruit anybody. But again, the thing that I had, and I want you to remember this, and I mentioned this already, one of the first things that I had was this burning desire, right? This burning desire to improve. And if you've got that fire, if you've got that burning desire to get better, and you couple that desire, which you would couple that desire with, okay, I'm going to start taking actionable steps towards getting better, then you're going to win in this business, okay? Again, and one of the first things I mentioned is network marketing works for those who work it. Network marketing works even better for those who work it good, right? For those who do it skillfully, with a high degree of confidence, right? People follow confidence. People follow somebody who knows where they're going. People follow somebody who is without question, like, I'm going here and you can come along with me, or you don't have to come along with me. That's your choice, but this is where I'm going, and I'm going to a great place. And it's like, wait a minute. I want to follow this person. I want to go to this. Like, the confidence that you exude rubs off on people. And that goes very back to the first thing that I said when we started today's training, is this business is a confidence game. The way you develop the confidence is, first of all, do you have a strong enough desire? If you're not in a really highly confident state, which the reality is many people who are newer aren't, okay? I deal with this every single day in my coaching, in my engagements with people. Like, it is, like, I'll tell you this. In fact, I'll finish with this. The biggest thing that I hear from people is that I'm struggling to stay consistent. That's like number one. I'm struggling to stay consistent. Well, why are you struggling to stay consistent? Are you lazy? No, I'm not lazy, and most people aren't lazy. They work hard in what they do. It's that they're dealing with the internal battle, and they're dealing with their, self-worth issues, their self-value issues around what it is that we do. So if you understand procrastination, why do people put things off? People typically put things off because A, I'm not good at it, so therefore I'm not going to do it. I don't feel like I'm very good at it, so I'm not going to do it. Or it doesn't feel good to me. And because it doesn't really feel good to me, I don't want to do it. So if we can get you good at it and get you feeling good about it, you're going to go get it, right? And by the way, given all the growth that APL has gone through already, and the exciting things that are happening right now, don't you think that it would be great for you to step up your degree of commitment, your degree of professionalism, and your level of confidence, so you can go out and make an even bigger impact on the world? I think that makes sense. So you guys, I appreciate you for being here with me today, or me being here with you, vice versa. I want to end with this. You can listen to me and you can take notes and you can do nothing with it, or you can listen to me, soak it in, and apply this stuff into your business. It's the application of the knowledge that makes the biggest difference. Go out there, make something big happen. I appreciate you guys. Have an amazing rest of your event, and we'll see you next time.